Dear friends, this is Lana Smith, and today I want to show you the difference between determinate and indeterminate tomatoes. And I want to show you those little tomatoes I just picked from my determinant tomato. It's called Czech determinant, little red tomatoes. And let's see if I can show you the bush. So this bush is fairly small, and you can see it sits on my little planter. Really doesn't need much, and I even was kind of short with the room, and I did things that I'm not supposed to do. Really, I put several determinant plants together in the same box, in the same planter, and you can see that they still produce a lot of tomatoes. And this year it's this is the Czech red tomatoes. This year is really late with everything. Everybody reports that tomatoes are still green, even though it's end of July. We have only a week left until August. But you can see that my little determinant plants, they don't grow too far, don't grow too high. And here's another one that I'm going to show you. It's also sitting in the pot, and you can see that some red tomatoes in there. You can see that it's really depends on the variety, but this is to compare. This is that red Czech, and this is the pink generous cascade. But still, what makes them unique, those determinant tomatoes, they will not grow too high, and they produce earlier than the other tomatoes that we call indeterminate. Now let's compare the difference in height in the indeterminate tomato and determinant. So this is determinant. Right now you see this actually hanging over the bed. So it really starts on much higher height, and then it goes really almost to the top of the roof. But again, it's not really started that low as the indeterminate tomatoes. Now let me show you my indeterminate tomato. Here is the raised bed, and here we go. This is an indeterminate tomato that goes up and up and up and up and poke the roof already, and it's not gonna stop. So I'll have to cut the tops to stop the development, at least somewhat, because it's otherwise it will be a jungle. So the size of the tomato fruit doesn't really depend on if it's determinate tomato or indeterminate tomato. There are some pretty good sized fruits on indeterminate tomatoes or determinant ones, and vice versa. So I would say that determinate tomatoes are very good for beginner gardeners, because they don't need to be pruned all the time. Not pruned, but taking the suckers out, which indeterminate tomatoes will need constant work of removing the suckers all the time, and they grow really fast. I was out of town for a week, and I came back to the jungle, and even though I pruned everything before I left, I still have a lot of work to do now to make that whole green mass a little bit smaller, so the plants will have more energy to develop the fruits versus given energy to grow the green mass. So as you see right here, we have a stem, and we have the leaf, and here, and 45 degrees between them, grows so-called sucker. Those suckers not welcome on the indeterminate tomatoes, the long one, the big ones, but for the small ones, actually you do not remove the suckers, because they grow in a certain way. They will produce some fruit in here, and then they are done, and then the next sucker will produce. So on those you're not removing anything, so that's why I call them really good tomatoes, sort of tomatoes for beginners, because all you need to do is basically plant and you don't need a really big container for that. And you plant, and then basically water and give them some fertilization once in a while, and they will produce for you.